Good afternoon, and my name is Camellia Brown. I'm a nutrition educator for Southern University Access Center in the Boys Evangeline in Rapides Parish. And today I'm going to be talking to you about sauteing versus stir fry. So, sauteing versus stir fry, what's the difference? Have you ever wondered about the difference between sauteing and stir fry? Although the techniques are very similar, there are some things that's a little different that I think is worth knowing because, for one, if you're doing recipes, we want to make sure that we're using what the recipe says and we're not getting it confused on what sauteing is versus stir fry. So, sauteing versus stir fry, what's the difference? Well, sauteing means to cook small pieces of food over medium heat to high heat until browned on the outside and cooked thoroughly. Stir fry is to cook food quickly by cutting into small pieces and stirring constantly over a high heat. So you'll notice one of the main difference when we say sauteing versus stir fry is that our stir fry is cooked over a higher heat and we're going to constantly stir it, whereas sauteing is under a medium to high heat where we stir less. So, important sauteing tips. What does sauteing do? So, sauteing browns the meat, which leads to richness to our meat and produce. Because the food is cooked quicker, the integrity of the food and the texture remains intact, which means it's not going to mess with my flavor of it and it's also not going to change my texture. So if I'm sauteing, for example, if I have asparagus, when I saute my asparagus, I'm not changing my texture from a crunchy to a soggy or a little softer, okay? So with my equipment, I want to use a skillet, a wide pan with a sloped side, or a saute pan, a wide pan with straight sides for this technique. I want to make sure that I choose a pan with a dense bottom that evenly distributes my heat. That's the most important thing, is that I want my food to cook evenly when I'm sauteing, because remember, I'm not going back and forth and turning it several times, okay? So I need to make sure that it's going to cook evenly. Well, does my size matter? Yes. Cutting food to a uniform thickness and size ensures that it will cook evenly. Vegetables should be no longer than a bite size, meat no larger than a portion size. So when we're talking about our meat, we want to remember, if I have a chicken breast and I put that chicken breast up to a decacords is about the serving size of one piece of meat, okay? So that the size that my portion meat should be. I don't want it any thicker than that, okay? Or any bigger than that. So do I toss and turn it? When I saute in my vegetables and bite-sized pieces of meat, I want to stir frequently, but not constantly, to promote even browning and cooking. So remember, we said the two most important things to remember with sauteing is that we're cooking it over a medium to high heat and we're not constantly stirring. Although we will stir some, it's not a constant stir. So important stir fry tips. What does stir fry do? It's a fast cooking process that requires minimal upfront effort and only minutes at the stove. What we want to use for it is a classic wok or a cast iron pan. With our sizes, we want to make sure that our sliced meat and vegetable are for maximum surface area. Vegetables are often sliced thinly on a sharp diagonal, and meat is always sliced against the grain because we want to make sure that we increase the tenderness. So, are we frying it and stirring it fast and furious? Yes, we are. Because everything happens so quickly when we're stir frying, it's important to rely on our four senses: touch, sight, sound, and smell. So with our touch, we want to make sure that we're preheating our pan or our wok. With sight, we want to make sure that we drizzle a little oil, and what I recommend is olive oil. For the sound, we want to listen for the sizzle of that oil, because when we see the sizzle of the oil, then we know that it's heated enough for us to start placing our vegetables and our meat in. And then we want to listen for that, well, smell, not listen, but we want to smell that great aroma that will come within 30 seconds of us putting it in that pan. And we want to remember to continue to stir. So let's recap that. Stir fry, we're going to use a high temp and we're going to stir constantly. We want our meats to be cut against the grain for the tenderness. With our sauteing, we're going to cook on a medium to high heat and we're not going to stir constantly. So a lesser review on sauteing versus stir fry. Sauteing and stir fry are both healthier ways to cook. So we're not frying it, we're not putting it in gravy. So that's right there, that's going to be a healthy way to cook. Sauteing does not require a continuous stir, whereas stir fry requires a continuous stir. The major difference to remember is that the temperature of when you saute is at a constant medium to high heat, and stir fry is at a higher heat, cooking faster, turning constantly. So remember, when we're sauteing, we're trying to get that brown color. When we're stir frying, we're actually cooking that whole meal all the way through. So for my lessons challenge, what I want to do is challenge you, now that you know the difference between sauteing and stir fry. I challenge you to commit to incorporating these two cooking methods into your weekly schedule. Not only is it healthier for you, but it's an easy way to incorporate meal planning. And the reason we say that it's easier to incorporate meal planning, the benefit of me sauteing or stir frying is that I can cut up all my vegetables. So on Sunday night, when I'm getting all my meals out for the week, I can cut up my vegetables, I can cut up my meat, I can place them in container. The good thing with stir frying is that when I put that in that pan, it's not going to take me long at all for me to fully cook that meal. If I'm doing cabbage and some bell peppers, if I want to throw in a little bit of chicken breast, then I can do that. I can have a whole meal cooked within less than an hour, 30 minutes to 45 minutes. Wouldn't that just make life a lot easier? So if you have some concerns about, well, what do I put in a stir fry? How do I create a stir fry? Guess what? I've already posted the link for you. So you can click on that link and it will give you some simple, easy recipes to use. Also remember that you can contact me at Camellia, CAMELLIA_Brown at suagcenter.com for any of your needs. If you want me to do a cooking demo for you, your employees, your family, just feel free to contact me. Take advantage of our services. And again, my name is Camellia Brown, and I'm the nutrition educator in Avoyelles, Evangeline, and Rapides Parish.